Welcome back to The Record Maker's Mind, a YouTube channel where we explore engineering music for emotion. I'm really excited today to present the first video series on this channel, but in order to give it a proper introduction, I thought I'd give a little bit of backstory because it's very relevant to why I'm so excited to have the video on the channel. A long time ago, in a little old town called Tallahassee, there lived a man named John Kurzweg. Now, he was known at that time as somebody who had a home studio and could make people sound like they were already on the radio with his recordings. And he played cover shows at night. And a lot of people don't know that actually before that, he was a major label artist on Atlantic Records, and the band was called John Kurzweg and the Night. I don't know what the night was about, but it's an ambitious name, and I give him credit. But during this time in Tallahassee, John was really starting to make a name for himself. He was like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. I mean, he could take these local bands and, make us sound like we had a real record, John wore jazz shoes, and he had a lot of just different tape recorders and everything because we didn't have digital back then. And so I had the chance to record them a couple of times, with my prior bands, and it was great. And I had decided that I was kind of done with being in a band and thought I would go to college and really hunker down. And so the guy that had been managing my band was now managing this band called Creed. And I didn't talk to my manager for about a year, and then he called me one day and said, "Hey, I think I could get you a record deal now, So I ended up back in the studio with John, and actually what we did, we were at his house, and we took a lot of stuff that I had done by myself at another home studio, and we added to it with some drum tracks from who would become the drummer of Mile, a guy named Stan Turner, who's an amazing drummer. But most of this, John and I did at his house by ourselves. And I really got to see up front what a wizard John actually is. And he is largely responsible for me getting signed and having a career in music. So I love the guy. And so it's a real treat to present this video that we did, which is in 2011, he came to my house in Nashville when I was in the music business and stayed with me for a week. Now, the purpose of the trip was he was thinking of moving to Nashville and wanted to come hang with me and have me introduce him to some of my people in the business and all of that. And about a week before he came out, my wife and I were watching Top Chef, and the main guy of the show, Tom Callichio, is a very famous chef. I remember in this episode, he's writing the contestants and they're starting to get pissed off. And somehow it comes up like, you come down here and try to cook in these circumstances, And he basically said, yeah, okay, I'll come down there. I'll show you, And I remember thinking, because I knew John was going to be at my house in about a week, wouldn't it be interesting to see what John could do in my little, kitchen, my little home studio? And so I called John and floated the idea out to him, and he laughed and said, yeah, let's do it. It's hilarious. I would love to do it. So John showed up, and rather than starting from scratch with a song, I picked a song that I had written years ago that did not make the Mile record. It's not an amazing song. It's a decent pop song. And we didn't really produce it a whole lot. And basically, you'll see on the video, I introduced John to the gear and away we go. Now, this was a home video. Our good friend recorded it on her camcorder. We didn't shoot a lot of the actual tracking because, it was boring. And I really wanted to get the approach, and I wanted to kind of really capture what I was learning from John in real time. And so that's what you'll see. You'll also see that John and I have a lot of fun in the studio. And one of the tough things about the time that we were in Tallahassee was he was responsible really for me getting signed. And I assumed that he was going to do the Mile record when the time came. And that didn't work out. So, anytime I get to be with John in the studio is an absolute privilege for me. And like I said, we have an absolute blast. So this video is exciting because it really exemplifies the record maker's mind. John's approach was very different than what I thought I needed to do in my little home studio. And, he solved problems in ways that somebody that has a very high understanding of what you're going for would solve them. And I just, like I said, I wasn't mature enough to really understand that at the time. Now, I'm so thankful to reconnect with John, to be able to look back at the wonder that is this video. And John has graciously agreed to be the first interviewee on this channel, and I'm very excited about that because you'll see when we talk shop, it's just a real treat for me. He's been an absolute great friend. He's such an amazing talent, and I'm just so humbled that he's even a part of this in any way. So without further ado, I'm going to let you jump into the record maker's mind with John and I. I hope you enjoy and you learn something great.